coffee cup by Signopoly. We are going to use Dixie Belle paint, we're going to use Hocus Pocus transfers, and we're going to use Woodubend. And we're going to make this coffee cup awesome. That's my plan. Okay? So, what I was showing you guys before is I have these new transfers. So this is what we're going to be working with. Those are the colors. Okay? They want you guys to help me pick. We're going to look at background color for the coffee cup, and we really want to look at this design for when we pick. So these come all on one sheet. Okay? So we can pick which design we're using or which components we're using. Like, look at those great feathers. And look at the detail and how bright those colors are, okay? So I think I want to use this design right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out that part of the transfer, and then we're going to pick our color. That birdhouse is going to be amazing on something in the future. So maybe we want a feather too. I don't know. Do we want a feather? Let's see. Okay. I pulled out, that's for something different. So I have driftwood, which could be pretty, right? Like just gray. It's more like a neutral with that. I pulled this one out because it could be like a pop of color, but now that I'm looking at it together, I think it's too much. But I think that Savannah Mist could be really pretty. I just love Savannah Mist. Does anyone else have, oh, totally changed my mind. Got a plan. I'm using a color that doesn't get used often. We're gonna use dried sage. So, this is dried sage. It's a really pretty sage color. What I'm doing, and I do this on all the pieces that I work on, is once you get your paint on, I go back from one side to the other, and it just kind of helps clean up my paint lines. I'm not pressing down real hard. I'm just kind of dragging those bristles to work that paint from one side to the other as evenly as possible. Now, the reason I care about my one coats, even in a project, is I'm showing you guys how to do these things on small projects, but in reality, I want you to be able to do all this stuff on big projects. And your first coat is important because that's what you're building on top of. So if your first coat is wompy weeby, guess what your second coat is going to do? It's going to be even more wompy weeby, right? So that's good for the dried sage. I really don't think we need a second coat. It actually got really amazing coverage. See, we're all good. So I'm gonna put my brush aside, and I'm gonna use, I think these. That would be pretty, right? To finish off the coffee cup, like at the bottom. So, it's actually hot, I have it heating up over there on a skillet. But what I want to do is I want to paint those before I put them on. And I brought out Barn Red because I think that that will be pretty with that color pattern. And I'm going to paint these two pieces with Barn Red, and then I'm gonna put them back over here to get heated up again. So, Woodubend, once you heat them up, they become pliable. Look. Okay? And you can then put them on anything. So they'll bend right around. You can heat them up as often as you need to in order to get your project finished. You can paint them before you put them on your piece or after. Woodubend is painted red. It's over here, it's heating up, and it's drying all at the same time, which is magical. So I'm gonna heat this up because there's just like a tiniest bit that didn't dry. Okay, so our coffee cup is dry, and our Woodubend is heating up on an electric skillet over here. Okay, so these are rad pads. They come in a pack like this. Dixie Belle sells them. A bunch of Dixie Belle retailers sell them. The back here is foam. The front is abrasive. So when we say abrasive, we mean basically kind of sandpaper, right? Like it's what's gonna take some stuff off. So before we do anything else, so even if this was a dresser or something like that, we would want to do it with what I call and what other people call a finishing sand, okay? So we're not taking our paint off. We just want to get this nice and soft, okay? It's gonna let your top coats lay on better. It's gonna let your transfers sit better. Anything you're putting on top of your paint, if this is soft, it's going to make it easier and better, okay? Okay. We're gonna tap our dust off, kind of whoop, whoop, whoop. You can take a damp rag. We didn't go crazy sanding, so I don't think we need to go crazy cleaning it. I just scratched my paint with my wedding ring. All right, now we're good. So, the next thing I want to do is, this is the transfer that I picked and I thought would be pretty to put on our cup. I'm going to put the Woodubend here, so maybe it can touch it just a little bit. It can overlap. I want to keep these flowers, so maybe, and if you can see, I'm hovering it. It's not stuck down yet, okay? That is, it has like the sticky backing. So once you push it down, you can't do this. I have it kind of hovered over so that I can see where we're putting it. All right, I think I like it like that. We have our red flowers. We kind of have like an arch. It's not perfectly straight. All right, I even moved it again. All right, so now, this is where I want to do it, okay? So now what we're gonna do is I always start in the center and kind of rub my design out from center. So I do this whether it's a transfer or if it's decoupage, anything. Start in the middle, push out. We have other things we could add here too. We could keep in mind if this corner looks, I don't know, like left out. If it looks sad in this corner, we can add something. Then you get this little stick that's provided. And what we're gonna do is just kind of work over the transfer and put these on. We're burnishing it in. Don't be scared to put some pressure on. You have this film that's protecting the furniture part from getting like scratched. We just really want to rub this design in. So now, once you feel relatively happy that you've gotten your design on, you're gonna start to pull the design up. If you see it is pulling up the design with your paper, you're gonna put it back down. So this is why we pull up slowly instead of just ripping it off. It's not a band-aid. You don't wanna just rip it off as fast as you can. Slow and steady wins this part of the race. The drier your paint is, also the easier some of this stuff works too. Sometimes when we speed dry things with our heat guns and ignore other things, the timing sometimes isn't all the way right. Now we're cooking. All right. So there's just these couple tiny spots on each one that I realized I missed, which is what happens. But again, if I would have just yanked this off, all of that would come off with it. So we're just watching it slow, putting it back down. I don't know if you guys can see how pretty this is coming out underneath. The detail is super pretty. I know some people are scared to do transfers, but it's really just a matter of patience. Then what you want to do, the next step, is you want to just take your fingers, nothing else, and you want to just go back over and see if there's any air bubbles, any spots that maybe it didn't adhere all the way down, and you're just going to press and kind of rub those air bubbles out and get that transfer nice and adhered. A lot of times when people say they have issues with their top coat, this is the step that creates those issues. They're not making sure that their transfer is all the way burnished on. Okay, so look at how pretty that is. So pretty, right? I'm kind of obsessed with this. I think this needs to be on a bigger piece of furniture. Now, my Woodubend has been heated. We already painted it, and it's pliable. And I think it'd be really pretty right here at the bottom of the cup to just kind of finish it. What do you guys think? So, You're probably wondering, if I'm putting my woodubend on a flat surface, why would I take the time to still heat it up? So the reason that we heat these up, even when we're going straight, is because no piece of wood is 100% flat and straight, and no piece of woodubend is 100% flat and straight. And when you want to have good adhesion, you really want to make sure that all points, or most points, are touching. So if it becomes pliable and easily manipulated so that all points can touch while it's warm, then our best bet for that is to warm it up prior. And we're going to go ahead and place it, and we can also manipulate really how it sits, so I can hug this curve if I want to. And if I hadn't heated it up prior, we wouldn't be able to do that. And that's what I want to do. Okay. So now I'm going to let that sit. This is still, you know what, I'm going to let that get tiniest bit warm again. And then we're going to put the glue on the back of that. Now I'm just going to hold it for a second because it's kind of wanting to uncoil on me, which is fine. So I'm just holding it 1 second till it cools, and it'll cool in this position. Now we're going to take our heat gun, and we're just going to put a little bit of heat on it. And what that's going to do is it's going to draw the wood glue into the wood and into the mold, and it's going to help create a mechanical bond between the two pieces. So we're not heating this up to make them hot again. We're just doing a couple quick passovers. Woo! And now if we did that fancy, I feel like I just want to do one more thing super quick with you guys, because then it'll be finished and all I have to do is do these touch-up areas that I obviously didn't paint in the beginning because, as I said, I just wanted to get on here with you guys and do the pretty stuff. You guys don't care about all the boring bits, do you? Oh, you know which one I think would be? And we'll go with this one, it's out. But I think Steel Magnolia probably would have been a better choice. Do I have that out here? No. Alright. I'll go with Silver Bullet. But I think, for the record, that Steel Magnolia would have been awesome too. So I just have a little art brush, and I'm just going to go and kind of touch on these high points. Okay, I think we're done. I think this would be super fun as a bigger project. But here is our super cute coffee cup. So thank you for hanging out with me and painting with Dixie Belle and using woodubend and Surf Prep Rad Pads and Hocus Pocus and all the things. And this just shows you how you could take some fun stuff and really create an adorable project. So thank you for being here. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me on Grace on Broadway on Facebook. And I'll talk to you guys soon. All right, bye.